if you don't know Aaron Pico, let me take you on a little journey. And I am a fan. You guys understand that. I'm a fight fan. I am a amateur wrestling fan. And of the journeys, right, of the bandwagons I jumped on and got to go down the trail with the chosen athlete, I can't tell you a time I had more fun than Aaron Pico. There might be a couple of draws, but I go back with Aaron Pico to the time he was a boy. He was 15 years old. And I start hearing about him. And it's very hard to hear about a 15-year-old boy. And it's just not what my buddies are talking about. It's just not in the circles what I'm talking about. I mean, you got to be very special. And at 15, you have to be able to deal with the men. It's the men that I follow. And by men, I'm just talking adults. So, at 15 years old, for Pico to come on my radar meant that he was having to go places and do things where he was beating the men. And he was. All right. Hold that thought. So, Aaron was very disciplined. And he wrestled within his age group, but didn't want to. He wanted to be wrestling further along. In USA Wrestling, some Brandon Slay policies. Coach Slay really never got credit for, but Coach Slay is the one that grabbed these guys at that time and said, hey, I appreciate that you're ahead of your time. But for 2 tournaments a year, one being the World Championship, I need you where you have the absolute best chance to bring a medal to this country. So he got cadets to stay in cadets. He got juniors to stay in junior, which they did not want to do. All right, so, I mean, Pico's winning everything that you can win. Aaron Pico, for perspective, this might be the easier way to do this. Zane Rutherford, and if you followed wrestling, you know who Zane is. He was our most recent representative at the Olympic Games. 3-time NCAA champion. Zane and Pico have wrestled a total of 7 times. And the overall record is 7 wins Pico, none Zane Rutherford. And to make one of these age group world teams, just that I saw, if it happened more than once, just that I saw, you got to do 2 matches in one day. It's the best of 3. You got to win 2 matches in one day. The combined score of those 2 matches was 14-1 Aaron Pico. So, I'm trying to get you to understand. I mean, this is boy wonder. At 17 years old, and this party couldn't control. The Olympic trials, they come around. The year is 2016. Aaron Pico is 17 years old. So even if he's to follow Coach Slay's policy of, hey, you got to wrestle where you can wrestle, well, he did, but then this tournament came around, and it's Olympic cycle, and you don't get to choose, and it's set ahead of time. So if you're 17, you're 18, you're 16, whatever it is, you got to go. He went. He was the youngest participant in all of the Olympic trials, but he was the youngest player at an Olympic trials of my lifetime. There was teens that made it through. There was high school kids that made it through. There was never in my lifetime a teen or a high school kid that made it to the trials that many people believed were going to make the team. Along that journey, a 17-year-old Aaron Pico drew a multi-time national champion named Jordan Oliver. And the match did not go the distance. This was just on Aaron's journey. He ends up in the final wrestle-off with Frank Molinaro. They go 1 apiece into match 3, and it's a 4-4 tie, criteria Molinaro. So Pico, now at 17 years old, has not made the Olympic team, which is his only goal, quite frankly. Like state championships and national championships, these just weren't impressive to him. He'd done all of this, and so now he's faced with a choice. What do I do? It's another 4 years until I can even have an opportunity to reach my goal. It's going to be 4 years until the next Olympic trials, which is the only thing I'm interested in doing. Or I can go right into MMA, which is another goal that I have, and I can waste no time and I can do it now. That's what he went with. Scott Coker signs him. So there has never been a prospect to come into MMA hotter than Aaron Pico. They debuted him on pay-per-view. They debuted him in Madison Square Garden. They debuted him in Madison Square Garden on pay-per-view at 18 years old, which is the minimum age you must be for a commission to license you. They never have. Coker has never put an 18-year-old on pay-per-view. Coker has never put an 18-year-old at Madison Square Garden. Coker has never debuted an athlete on pay-per-view at Madison Square Garden. But this is the right guy. This is Aaron Pico. I mean, this is absolutely the right guy. And then these stories start to come out that while Pico was wrestling and while he was succeeding at wrestling, he had been boxing. He was also a boxer. He was going in the gym. He was working with guys, including pros, but he was doing it in the gym. Then it comes out that many people said that he would have been an Olympian or a candidate in the sport of boxing. And you just hear these rumors. How true are these? And then are they accurate? And who's saying it? But I'm just sharing for you. These stories start to come out. Then it turns out that in Europe, we can't relate here, but in Europe, they were holding championships, actual tournaments that came with championships for the sport of pankration. Now, the sport of pankration is what you now call mixed martial arts. Mixed martial arts is a term that came along to get a law passed in the Nevada legislature in 2001. It is not the sport that we're doing is called pankration. We don't have a choice on that. It's just a matter of which word and definition came along first. Well, the definition and the word and the sport of pankration can date itself back to the Olympic Games in 1904. It was a national sport to the country of Greece, which hosted the first ever Olympic Games. All right. All I'm sharing for you is that it turned out that Pico had been doing that, and it turned out that he was a champion multiple times. And that was a hard one. You go, wait a minute, this guy's in the gym boxing guy. When would he have time? He's wrestling so much. But then you start hearing from these boxers. Then all of a sudden you start getting these stories that he's been competing throughout Europe in pankration championships and that he is the champion multiple times. And it's a little bit hard to believe just because you think you would have heard of it. And when could have he prepared and when could have he trained because he was so dedicated to the sport of wrestling, of which he was greatly excelling in. And then videos surface. It was all true. It was all true. He'd had a dozen fights and he won them all. It's just a very interesting thing. So Pico stays with Bellator and he has a great career. And there was just a couple of strange things that happened to him. I mean, just strange things. I'll give you an example. Pico's fighting one time on television. His shoulder goes out. The referee doesn't see. It's out. His shoulder is, guy was it looked so painful. His shoulder's out. The referee doesn't see it. So Pico goes to the corner and he resets it. His coaches don't know what to do. He resets his own shoulder and turns and fights. And the ref did miss it. I mean, it was like this pro wrestling thing. His shoulder goes out again during the fight. He tries to go on. He resets it again. His shoulder goes out again. The referee's like, hey, we can't do this. We're done. So I'm just sharing for you, like that's one story. But each time things haven't gone Pico's way, it was like a once-in-a-lifetime odd event that led to that conclusion. I'm not convinced I have ever seen this young man in there with somebody that he can't beat up. I'm not convinced that I fully know anybody for sure that this young man can't beat up. It's just an interesting career. So he stays with Bellator. Bellator gets absorbed. They become PFL. And Aaron's release comes up. And Dana grabs him. And whatever it is that Dana is seeing in Pico, it matches what I'm telling you I see in Pico, because Dana's not wasting any time. I mean, he's putting Aaron on pay-per-view. He's putting Aaron in a co-main event. He's putting Aaron in a position where he could win this and qualify for a title. Likely doesn't, but it likely goes into the number one contenders match. I mean, he fast-tracked him. And I want you to know who you're looking at. I want you to know what you're looking at. I want you to know this is a guy, there's no opponent and there's no scenario. There's no opponent out there that's going to back him down. There's no opponent out there that he's not going to show up for. There's no situation, including a dislocated shoulder, where he's going to say, I can't walk out there tonight. And that is generally the ultimate athlete that you as fans are looking for. I'm here to let you know we found him.